In this video, I want to look at three different functions. The first two functions I discovered when I was doing a Google search, and they simply return the latitude and longitude for a given location. And the third function is one I've created myself, which takes in latitude and longitude and returns the postal address for the nearest postal address for that latitude and longitude. So I discovered the two functions on this digital geography blog, which had very simple instructions of how to actually get the getLat function and the getLong function to work in your Google Sheet. So hopefully you can see there that is the full code for the get the latitude. So it takes in one parameter of the address or part of the address and returns the latitude for that address, and the longitude function is almost identical. Takes in address and returns the longitude for that address. So I copied this code directly into the script editor for my Google Sheet. So the first part here is just a comment I've added. So small details about the getLat and the getLong functions and where I got them, and then a further paragraph about the getAdd function, which we'll have a look at in a minute. So the code for the function getLat, so it takes in an address, then immediately after there's an if statement that says, well, if the address is empty, then output the message must provide an address. Then we have a variable called geocoder, which looks to the maps.ugeocoder API. Then we've got a var called location, and location is set to geocoder.geocode and the address. So it picks up the address input by the user, puts in the address here, and then we have an if function. If the location status is okay, then set latitude equal to location, and outputs the results and the geometry and the latitude for that particular location, and just returns the value of lat, which is the latitude. The getLong is almost identical, so we have the same error message if no address is entered. The geocoder code and location are identical, and the if statement is for, well, if the location status is okay, then return the longitude details, and it returns the longitude value here, which is output on the spreadsheet. So let's have a quick look at that in action. So I've set up a spreadsheet with a few basic well-known landmarks around the world. So you simply type in equals getLat. It's not case sensitive, so equals getLat, point to the address in cell A2, press return, and it returns 51.5033635, and in here equals getLong, open brackets, point to cell A2, and returns the longitude. And now if I fill down, it gets the latitude and longitude for each of these addresses. So when I was looking up about the geolocations, I discovered a thing called reverse geocoding, which simply is something that takes in a latitude and longitude and returns the nearest postal address. So that's where I set about trying to put together some code to create another function that would get the address. So I looked at, first of all, the reverse geocode, and I could see here that the Google developers site had given a snippet of code which I could build a function around. So they have a variable called response, and it calls the new geocoder service, and then a reverse geocode. Now in this example, it's hard-coded the latitude and longitude coordinates of Times Square. So what I wanted to do was have these values taken in as variables from a spreadsheet. And then they have a for loop, and then they return, for each value they return the formatted address, which is the part I want to return in the function. So back to my script, if I scroll down here, here is the function that I've created, function getAdd, which takes in two parameters, latitude and longitude. So I have a similar if statement, if statement, so if the lat is blank, I return value or an error message, you have to provide latitudinal coordinates to the place. If long is blank, I just return you have to provide the longitudinal coordinates to the place. And here the code is almost identical to the snippet I showed you a minute ago. So it maps new geocoder, reverse geocoder, and instead of hard coding it, I have a latitude value and a longitude value which would be pulled straight from the function here. And the for loop is identical as before. So, and the only thing that changes here, I don't have a logger.log, but I have a return result.format address, so it outputs the full address in the cell. And then close the for loop, close the function. So let's have a look at this in action. So I go equals get add, open bracket, look to the latitude and look to the longitude value and close bracket, press return. And there it provides a full postal address for 10 Downing Street. And fill down, full postal address for the White House, the Taj Mahal, Christ the Redeemer in Rio de Janeiro, the Trevi Fountain in Italy, Uluru or Ayers Rock in Australia, Half Dome in Yosemite National Park, and the address of Skellig Michael off the coast of County Kerry. As a nice add-on to this, I noticed that Google have a tool called Maps Engine, which allows you to feed in coordinates into a map and get placeholders in that map. So I've set up an additional sheet here with some stages of a cycle road race around Ireland and the latitude and longitude details. Now it'll only take it reading the first sheet from the file, so I'm just going to move sheet 2 into the place of sheet 1, ahead of sheet 1. I'm going to my Maps Engine and click on Create New Map. And I'm going to select on Import. I'm going to select on Google Drive and Recent, Scripts and Add-ons. Click on Select. Click on Continue. And have the details on from the reverse geocoding page and click on Finish. And there we have each of the placeholders mapped out on the coordinates, and I notice those one is slightly out of place, City of Edinburgh for some reason. Oh, Newbridge. Okay, so Newbridge is wrongly selected, so I'm going to go back to my file and I'm going to go Newbridge, Ireland, and watch the coordinates update. And there we go. So let's try again. Click on delete this map. Click on Create New Map. Click on Import, Google Drive, Recent, File and select, and click on Continue. Select the reverse geocoding address and click on Finish. And there are all the points of the race listed out on a map. Thank you for watching.